Figma has integrated with Claude. My goal from today's video is to show you how to set up the Claude Figma integration so that you can use the latest feature, which is the Claude Code to Canvas. I want to show you how to set it up first, even if you're a designer and you're not comfortable in coding tools. I will walk you through that step by step, but most importantly, I want to show you the value of that, how that can impact your process as a designer. As our industry is changing significantly with AI, the line is becoming very blurry between what we used to do as designers and what developers do. So it's becoming more critical and important for us as designers to understand that connection, to be able to move from chatting with an LLM to actually moving to a code, then to design. If you're new to Claude, Claude is created by Anthropic, and it's an advanced AI assistant that is more designed to think through complex problems like code, long context, generate high quality text and code and structured outputs. I was able to generate this travel website that is really super aesthetic and beautiful with few lines of code, which is unbelievable. But before we dive into all the possibilities, I want to guide you through the setup because it was a very complex journey. So I'm going to do my best to walk you through it step by step, especially if you're a designer that's not familiar with terminal and coding. So let me break down the steps for you. There are multiple steps that we need to do. One of the most essential steps is downloading Claude Code. So I'm going to call that as step number 1, regardless of where we access Claude, whether we use the Claude Desktop or whether we do Claude from another IDE, example Visual Studio. Still, you need to download Claude Code and there's instructions for that. So we're going to do that together. But after that, the second step would be to connect Claude to the Figma MCP. And then we're going to install, this is the third step, we're going to install a plugin that allows the Figma MCP remote server to actually work and connect. Now, I'm going to get started by showing you how to download the Claude Desktop. I will walk you through these steps. If you want to skip this step, that's okay. Skip the Claude Desktop installation and then follow us into the other steps. Now, what I need you to note is, regardless which way you do this, there are 2 requirements to make this work. First, you need a Claude Pro account. So you're going to have to pay even if it's just for a month. And then you need a Figma Pro account as well, so that you can have access to the Figma MCP. So you need a paid seat in both these tools. As designers, you may not have your own coding tool. So even if you do have an IDE, the simplest way for us to demo this and to show you this is by using Claude Desktop. In order to do that, if you go to claude.com/download, and I'm going to include this link for you in the description, you come here and based on your machine, you can download either for Mac or for Windows. I have a Mac OS, so I'm going to click on this. And naturally, you'll be prompted to download an installation package. So the DMG is here. I go to access it inside my Finder. There are a set of permissions. And basically, what you will have, just like with any Mac application that you download, I know this is slightly different for Windows, but you'll be able to drag Claude, that looks like this, into your application folder. Here it is. I can open Claude from my application folder. And because it's the first time, of course, it's asking for more permissions. You need to log in and give your credentials. I'm going to log in with my Google Chrome. And the last step, agreeing to consent. It's up to you whether you want to subscribe to any product updates. I don't want that. And I'm clicking continue. One additional request, it's asking me for my birthday. I'm not letting you guys know that. And the next step is it's asking us for the kind of plan we want to sign up for. So for now, I'm going to say use Claude for free, but at some point during the setup, need to sign up for an account, just enable to get the Figma integration. So it's asking us to install Claude Code, which is the next step that we wanted to do. It's nice that they've included this as part of the setup process. Now that they've asked us to connect the code, I want us to go back here and I want to show you the plans. You will see that Claude Code, which is what we want to use in order to leverage the Figma Claude integration, is only available on a pro account. So for now, I'm going to get that. Go through your own setup so you can make a payment, because you do need to get that if you decide to leverage this. Before I move on from payment, I just want to call out that when you're filling in the payment information, they have something about a tax ID option. Do not select that unless you're a specific business that pays GST and HST. Do not select that option. If you leave it empty and you fill up all the other fields, you should be able to move on. It's saying your ticket to building faster, you just got access to Claude Code. And this is literally why we got this. On to the next part, which is installing Claude Code. The reason this is not done from the Claude Desktop is it has to be done on a system level. So for that, you need to use an application that exists in your Macintosh called Terminal. You may not have used it before. You can find it in your system settings, but I'll show you a quicker way to access it, which is if you click Command Spacebar, it opens up your Spotlight search, and once you search for Terminal, it will appear right away. And when you click it, this is how your Terminal window looks like. Now that we have Terminal open, you need to add a simple command that allows you to install Claude. And that's the documentation that was open for us. Please look in the description of this video for all the links. I will provide them for you. I know there's going to be quite a few for you to follow, so I will put them for step by step for you in the description so you don't get caught up in it. This is the command that we want. I'm going to copy it. I will go back to the terminal. I will place it there. And once you paste it there, and you can see we have a successful installation. Now, for those of you who might run into errors, the first time I tried to install this, there was an error in my installation. This could be due to your system, like you could have permissions that are preventing you from downloading it. If you type the word Claude, you will see a response in your terminal that indicates this is working. So this is our first step that we needed to do in the terminal. Now that we've completed that in the terminal, I shut down Claude by clicking Command Quit, and now I'm restarting Claude Desktop. And at this point, you will see something changed in our interface where on top we have Chat, Cowork, and Code. And the Code section gives us access to Claude Code. But we had a few errors because we're missing a few steps for our installation. So let me go back here. There are two things that we still need to do in order to access the Figma MCP with Claude. This is where I want you to look at the second link of documentation that I'm providing you, which allows us to connect Claude with the Figma MCP server. If I click Command F and search for Figma, you will see this is the command that we need to run to connect the Figma MCP to Claude. Once again, this is a task that we do need to do inside the terminal. I will copy it from here, and again, I'll guide you through these links and steps in the descriptions. So now you will see it added server Figma MCP to local config. After having connected the MCP, the third step that we want to do, I will also give you this prompt as the third step. We want to connect with the Figma plugin. You may be prompted to different permissions because we're working outside folders. We're not working in a folder right now. We're working on a high system level. So you may be prompted to verify different things. It's okay to say yes. Of course, read what it's asking you for. Then say yes if it's asking for permission for your desktop. When you add this command, you will install the plugin. In my case, I've already installed this. Type dash. Do you see? Dash opens a directory. Inside the terminal, I'm going to type plugin, and you can see the moment I start typing, it completes it for me. So if I click on tab, it completes the word that actually exists. I'm going to click enter, and that opens the different plugins that I have. This is Discover tab, which is allowing me to discover new plugins. I actually want to go to Install to show you what's the name of the plugin that we just downloaded. Now, remember, because we're inside the terminal, you can't use your mouse. If I use my mouse to click here, it doesn't move anywhere. So you need to use your arrows to navigate. And now I clicked my right arrow to move to Installed, and this will show you the actual plugin that we downloaded. It's called Figma Remote MCP. In my case, it's connected. So I had this working, but I disabled it so I can show you again. So when you navigate under Installed, if you click Enter, it will open the Figma Remote MCP. You can see in my case, it's disabled or not authenticated. In your case, it will show something else when when you're doing it for the first time. It will say, hit Enter to authenticate. It is very critical. I know this is not intuitive for us designers, but it's very critical for you to authenticate when you do this step. Otherwise, you will not be able to use it. So in order to authenticate, in my case, I'm going to click number 2, and this opens my Google Chrome, because currently for me, it's my default browser. It is asking me to agree and allow access. You can see the account I'm logged in with. You can switch your account and log in with whatever is the right account that you want. And this will authenticate. Now it says, close this window and return to Claude. So now if we come back to our terminal, you will see authentication successful. Let's run dash plugin. Another quick shortcut to the terminal is if you click your up arrow, it always runs the last command that you have. So if you use the arrow, you will see it shows you the different commands you've done. And I will run this again. And now if we scroll up and click the right arrow to go to installed, you will see my Figma Remote MCP is actually connected. And this is the last step that we needed in the terminal. You can breathe now. You no longer need the terminal if you don't want it. However, if you're not using the Claude Desktop, you can continue to work from here. You will be able to work from here. So if I click Escape at this point, I am inside Claude. My Figma Remote MCP is connected, and I will be able to achieve code to canvas. So let me give you a quick example in the terminal, and we can copy the same thing and do it in the Claude Desktop. For those of you who just want to do it in the Claude Desktop, you can skip through this part, but you've done the hardest part in the terminal. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So I'm going to use a very simple prompt to see how the result is going to be. Now, I can either provide an existing Figma file where I want to send it, or I can do it without that. I'm just going to copy a link for this file that I've created, and I will paste it right here. I added a column just before pasting the link. This format seems to work. Let's see what's happening. Some validation is going to be needed along the way, so watch out for what the terminal is doing. So you can see from the way it's thinking that it's actually doing the right thing. It's saying, I'll create a travel homepage website as HTML, then I will send it to your Figma file. Let me start by building it. And it is doing that. That's great. This answer tells me that it is using the right plugin that we just installed. There are many approvals that will happen on the way. And as you can see, it just opened this in my browser. You can see this travel website. It's actually really interesting and well done, considering how small is the prompt that I created. I just gave a very basic prompt without any details. And what you will notice here on top, you will see there's something that looks like a Figma bar. This is part of the Figma MCP integration. There's the option to send to Figma, to see the entire screen, to select a specific element, and to open the file. Let's start by clicking on Open File, and you can see it just pasted in this frame the whole Figma website. There is the navigation, there's body, there's the different sections. It's actually very well done with auto layout. This is very impressive as far as I'm concerned. To do changes there, for example, when I come back here, if I click Select Element, If I select this particular card, it's sending it to Figma. I think when I'm selecting the layer that has the gradient. In this case, we're sending the header to Figma. You can see it right here. Clicking on entire screen will send the whole entire screen to Figma. Now you can see how this is happening. If you were to make changes in this file, you can take it back to the code, iterate, and continue enhancing your designs. But this is really, really amazing to see that we're able to bring this collaboration even much deeper between developers and designers. Now let us jump back. Claude Desktop, if you've installed it and are going through the same process that I created, I want us to use the same prompt and repeat the same process. And when you come here to Claude Desktop, in the Code tab, you can see Claude Sonnet 4.6 is selected. Of course, we can use Opus 4.6. As I mentioned, Opus requires way more tokens because it's more complex. However, Sonnet is already able to produce fantastic results. So since we use that in terminal, I'm going to stick with it. I will paste the same prompt and click the enter or the arrow that's available. Now, because we've done our installation in the terminal, you will see the same installation will get applied here even when we're using Claude Desktop. Now, while it's creating the website, the difference in Claude Code is you have this live preview, it opened it, you can see, you can toggle the device so you can see the responsive behavior. If I go back here, this is a dark mode that you can switch to, which is really nice to have inside the preview. You also have this edit section. It's more like the point to edit in Figma Make, where you actually select an element and you can prompt regarding that. But this is not what we want to do right now. So I'm going to close the preview and continue approving all these permissions. And now the last step is happening, sent to Figma. And you have the same controls that we saw once we performed this step from the terminal. So if I click on Open File, you'll be able to see it right here. And it will send the whole page that it generated to the file. And this is how we do it. Before we close this video, one last very important tip that I want you to notice. It is very important that we install the second step, which is the Figma MCP server, at the level of the folder that you are working on. For example, you will see here, I'm working on the level of the desktop. This is where this Claude Desktop is working from. So it's very important that in your terminal, you install the two steps that we took before, which is installing the Figma MCP as well as the plugin, need to happen on the same level or directory where you're creating in your desktop app. Only then this will be able to work and it will understand to send this to your Figma. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really interested to know what you want to learn right now as our industry is changing. So please leave me those in the comments. I look at every comment and I respond to it. Let me know your thoughts and what you want to learn next.